There's more to the story on Joel Embiid's knee. The shutdown is real. We're going to talk about it right here on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? You are Locked On with the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm your host, Kayla Santiago, sideline reporter for the Delaware Blue Coats, the Philadelphia 76ers, NBA G League affiliate. So what's going on with Joel Embiid? We're going to break it down right here on Locked On 76ers, in addition to Eric Gordon needing surgery, and a little bit of a preview of the 76ers versus the Knicks. People, I know it has been a rough season, more than rough. It has been a terrible season. So if you want a little vent session, if you want to let us know how you're feeling right now in the comments, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe right here on Locked On 76ers on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. In addition, you can also check us out at our free daily newsletter that's on LockedOnDaily.com to get everything related to Philadelphia 76ers. We're not just talking about the games because they've been bad as of late. In addition, we're talking about all the updates, everything in between, what's going on with Joel Embiid, where is the drama right now, where are the storylines happening. We've got it all right here on Locked On 76ers. So let's get to the latest. You guys all know my co-host, Keith Pompey, is a 76ers beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Now, this article, not written by him, but it was written by the Philadelphia Inquirer. So the doctors discussed a little bit of radical surgeries for Joel Embiid that could sideline him for as much as a year. So that is the headline we're looking at right now. And this is where it boils down to. He should not have played in the Olympics. He might have not even should have come back last season. And when you look at it, you say, okay, you get it. He wants to play in the Olympics. That's a huge accomplishment for any NBA player, any basketball player in the world to be able to play at that highest level in the Olympics and get that gold medal. And Joel Embiid was a big part of the USA Olympic team as well. I bring that up, though, because if he were to sit throughout the Olympics and actually get that knee looked at, they probably would have ruled him out for playing the season. Possibly. Maybe they would have looked to push it, but there was doctors saying that Joel Embiid should probably not play this season. This knee is really, really bad. So now when you look at it, it's getting even worse. And now he could be sidelined, not just the rest of this year and this offseason, maybe even into next year. Now let's look at a direct quote from this article as well. Joel Embiid could undergo a meniscus replacement procedure or a procedure where doctors break a bone in the hip to realign the joint and alleviate pressure. Did you all just listen to what I just said? The same Sixer who made orbital bone fracture and all of this common phrases, as we've known, Joel Embiid has played through a lot. Listen, he's battled through injuries in the playoffs and everything in between. Now you look at this, he's had so many different injuries, and the meniscus replacement, low-dose radiation therapy might be something that they look at into doing, in which the doctors break a bone in the hip to realign the joint to alleviate pressure. One source called the procedures radical in light of the mundane injury and surgery that brought Embiid to this point. For some reason, what should have been a routine rehab and a routine return to play has gone horribly wrong. So when Keith and I have talked on this podcast throughout this season and saying, Joel Embiid's knee is really bad. Maybe he shouldn't be playing. Maybe they need to not play on back-to-backs. Then he started not playing back-to-backs. Then the knee swelling got bad when he played consecutive games and he was out for 5 to 6 to 7 games. Then he would come back. This is really, really bad, people. And I look at this, and I know people out there are going to say, well, don't feel bad. It's not that big of a deal. Da, 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 da. We're talking about a major surgery that could impact him outside of basketball. Could it impact his way of walking for the rest of his life? Could it impact how he walks and how he interacts with his family and everything in between? That is a big deal when you're looking at ways to continue to play basketball at a high level. Could this be it for Joel Embiid? With this news, could this be it? Now, I don't want to put any misinformation out there because I'm not saying this is what they're going to do. That was not said, but this is one of the options that, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, in that article that they are throwing out there right now, that might need to happen. Now, granted, I don't know, and I don't think they'll go this option. I'm not a medical professional. I am not a doctor, but this seems crazy. This seems like something that could sideline him, not only in basketball, but that could also affect his future down the line, just being a normal human being after the game of basketball is all said and done for him. So it brings me back to when Andrew Luck retired from the NFL It's a little bit similar to me with that. He was playing at a high level, and all of a sudden you hear that retirement, and his body just really couldn't keep up with the way that he wanted to play. The reality might be the same with Joel Embiid. Do I think he's going to retire? No. But will he ever be as dominant as we saw him even a season ago, even during his MVP season? I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. And for somebody who has covered this team for quite a bit, who's also covered the NBA G League, the 76ers G League affiliate in the Delaware Bluecoats, who has followed the Sixers for a really, really long time, this is an unfortunate reality for Joel Embiid in this organization. They have brought in so many players to try to build around him because he's their centerpiece. And I said this the other night on the podcast with Keith Pompey. I said that the last time the 76ers have had a superstar was Allen Iverson. I was not even 1 year old, people, when AI took this team to the finals. That's how long ago we're talking. And then you go to the core of Drew Holiday, Andre Iguodala, Elton Brand, Spencer Hawes, all those players on one team, Lou Williams. You didn't have a superstar. And year after year after year, that was the conversation, the topic of conversation for the Philadelphia 76ers and the organization. You bring Joel Embiid in, you tank, you end up getting 10 wins, then you bring him in. He's hurt his first year, then he only plays half a season that next year, and then he plays full time. He's this MVP caliber player. He's able to get scoring titles, everything in between. And now we might be saying that that is all it might be. That might not be all it might be for the 76ers. Maybe he could be on a team that's a championship contender, but it won't be his team anymore. That's where I'm going to put this at, and this is what it's looking like to me, because how many times can you get a surgery on a knee? How many times can you get a surgery anywhere on your body where you can come back and be dynamic and fully dominant and everything in between? Everybody wants to see Joel Embiid win a championship with the 76ers and this organization. But the reality of the situation might be that that is no longer going to happen under Joel Embiid's team. Now, the contract is long. It's extensive. Paul George's contract is long. It's extensive. Nobody's going to want that. Tyrese Maxey is clearly a talent that you could build off of. Jared McCain as well, going in the future for the Philadelphia 76ers. But the reality this organization has to face is that Joel Embiid may never again be Joel Embiid if this is the serious surgery that we're talking about. And once again, I don't want to put misinformation out there. This is not the only surgery. They're not saying that this is what they're going to do. But the fact that this is possibly an option, the fact that this is something that is in conversation for him to get, should show everybody, the organization should show viewers, should show fans, should show media, that this is how bad this injury is right now. This is how bad they're looking at options like that to be able to replace it so that he can play. But what happens if that gets affected? What happens to his body after that if he plays too much on it? There's a lot that goes around this that's so much deeper than basketball. I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comments, because this is something that's really dangerous. And if it indeed is, now a lot of things have been thrown around, right? He told Lisa Salters that he needs surgery at the end of the season. And then everybody kind of backtracked on it and said, oh, no, he doesn't need surgery. He's good, whatever it may be. With that being said, the reality seems like that he needs surgery, that he needs to get it fixed. And if it has to be something like that, this is no longer Joel Embiid's team, because he's not going to recover fully and be back to his dominating self when you're talking about removing another bone and putting another bone in that knee. Once again, I'm not a doctor, but it's kind of stating the obvious there that if that's what you need to do, in addition to everything else Joel Embiid has had to deal with and get repaired and everything like that in his body, this may be Tyrese Maxey's team as early as next season. As early as next season. This season is a total wash. I don't want to see Joel Embiid on the floor with the Philadelphia 76ers, because clearly this knee is really, really bad. But we're looking to the future. We're looking, this could be it for the domination era of Joel Embiid. And I'm not saying that the 76ers won't keep him and that he could be on a team that's led by Tyrese Maxey and they could go far with Joel Embiid just not having the same dominating impact that he's had in the past. But this could be the end of the domination era of Joel Embiid. And it's crazy to think about, because he can play at a high level, but his body is not allowing him to, and he's getting injured. It's crazy to think about, guys. I know it's a lot to take in. Let me know what you think in the comments. Once again, this isn't the only option. This is not what they're deciding to do. The Philadelphia Inquirer, once again, wrote about this, so make sure you go check it out. In addition to that, there's clearly more options I'm sure the doctors are looking at, but the fact that this is one shows us that it's probably really bad and Joel needs to shut it down for the rest of the season. Immediate shutdown. We will wait and see. They play the Knicks here tonight at 7 p.m. So some things could happen. Don't see him playing, but we will wait and see. I believe he needs to shut it down for the rest of the season. But don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to talk about another player that's a little bit depleted that definitely needs surgery and will be undergoing surgery. So we will touch on that on the other side. Before we do that, we do have to tell you about DoorDash. I love DoorDash probably more than I should. Now I work late nights, I work in sports, I'm traveling, I'm on the go, everything in between. And there's just some times where it's either I need a DoorDash some really, really good meal, or I'm just at home and I didn't get to cook for the week. And I'm saying, all right, just give me something quick, wherever it may be. NBA fans, get ready. The swoosh you serve thanks to Dash Pass. Every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. Here are a few ways you can take advantage of this deal. Game day feast. After an epic 50-point performance, celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, or burgers from your favorite spot delivered straight to your door. Late night cravings. Whether you're staying up watching highlights or just need a midnight snack, use Dash Pass to grab something delicious while saving big. Lunch on the go. Need a quick and easy lunch the next day with Dash Pass? You get your favorite meals with $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees. Plus, now you save even more with the exclusive NBA offer. Fueling your watch party. Planning to catch the game? Order your go-to snacks and meals at a discount and get ready for more high-scoring action. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save when any player scores 50 or more in a game. Dash Pass members get 50% off any order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight. After a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants, must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Make sure you visit DoorDash to learn more. Once again, make sure you head over to DoorDash right now to get everything in between that you would like with this Dash Pass. And we are back with Locked On 76ers. So another update for this team and the depleted team that we've seen this year. Eric Gordon will undergo surgery on his right wrist today. Now, I do think that this was a little bit more expected than what we just talked about with Joel Embiid. But Eric Gordon, a player that showed us sometimes a little bit of that 2016-2017 Eric Gordon and what he was able to do back when he was kind of a little bit at his prime. And when you said, okay, I want that guy on my team. But for him this season, he averaged just 6.8 points per game, 1.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists while shooting 42.6% from that field goal range. And this is a thing that's happening with the 76ers where you looked at it before the Nets and the Bulls game, and you could have said it would have been really nice to just have Eric Gordon back with his shooting when he gets hot, when he's not, just put him on the bench. But when you're looking at this team now, after losing to the Nets and the Bulls, it's clear that they want to tank. It's clear that they're really done with this season, and they're trying to get that number one pick if they can and drop in that lottery. I do believe that the 76ers don't necessarily need Gordon right now because they're not trying to win right now. And I'm not saying that Eric Gordon is the win now player, do it all, but when you have a guy that can knock down shots, a veteran player, sometimes you want to come off your bench. And when he's not playing well, you can just sit him. But when he is playing well, you want him out there. This is somebody that you don't really have to worry about right now in terms of missing that piece because the 76ers aren't really trying to win those games either. So Eric Gordon, you hope he has a successful surgery. Once again, that's on that right wrist. And interesting to see what happens with him too, just overall as a player as well, because when you look at him, he's a little older. He's, of course, a vet in the NBA in general and with the Philadelphia 76ers. So when you look at it, you say, okay, well, when is Eric Gordon kind of going to hang it up and things like that? So for him, once again, that wrist surgery happening today, and we wish him well from that. But I want to focus on the 76ers before we get into the game here today. I want to focus on them as a team right now, because when you look into the Eastern Conference, and the thing that everybody keeps saying is, they're in tank mode. Don't be upset because they're tanking. We're journalists. We're not necessarily looking at it in a way where we're upset or we're happy. We're kind of looking at it from an analytical point of view. So this is the thing, people. How much did Adam Silver like the process? Just think about that. How much did Adam Silver like the process? Not at all. So do you think if the 76ers don't have the worst record, that Adam Silver is going to by any means give them that pick? Now, I shouldn't say any means give them that pick. Any means allow that to happen, I should say. So when you look at the Eastern Conference right now, the Wizards 10-47 on the year. I just don't think the 76ers catch up with them. I think the Wizards are not going to allow them to, because if the 76ers continue to lose, Washington's going to be like, all right, well, I guess it's time to continue to lose as well. The 76ers, 25 games left on the season, still in 12th place. The Bulls, 23-35 right now on the year. Of course, they just demolished the Philadelphia 76ers 142-110 in that last game. So the 76ers are about 3 games back out of that final play-in spot. But this is the crazy thing. The Bulls came into that last game, and we touched on it in the last episode of Locked On 76ers, losing 11 out of the last 15, having a 6-game losing streak, and being the 5th worst offense in the NBA since the Levine trade. The 5th worst offense since that trade put up with 142 points on Philadelphia. By the way, people, in that Bulls game, putting up 142 in the Wells Fargo Center on the road in Philadelphia. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you say, okay, it's a little crazy how they've been able to do that, how they're able to put those points up when they're so-and-so tanking as well. Maybe the Bulls stay in that 10th spot. I really don't think they will. I think they want to lose. And then the Nets, another team you look at and you say, okay, well, they're not necessarily looking to win either. They might try to drop right now. They're at 21-36. So the 76ers, they're on the outside looking in. And Paul George said it yesterday. And I want to bring up a quote that my co-host Keith Pompey wrote about and tweeted. So giving him the credit for this. And the question was that Keith asked, does Tyrese Maxey get a sense that some of the Sixers teammates have checked out on the season? And this comes from Paul George basically saying yesterday that this team really can't compete. I'm kind of paraphrasing here what he said yesterday. Really can't compete. Have you seen them compete? No. Tyrese Maxey says, I'm not going to say that. I wouldn't say that. I feel like it's my job to make sure we go out there and compete extremely hard, and I'll do a better job of that. Now, listen, Tyrese Maxey is going to be the good guy in this situation, okay? Tyrese Maxey is going to be the guy that tries hard 110% every single time, even if his team is losing every single game. Nobody wants to lose that many basketball games in a season. Paul George was being realistic. And I know people are going to not like me to say that, because people are saying, oh, well, he's just not a good Sixer. He doesn't like this team. He shouldn't be here anyway. The reality of the situation is nobody has come forward and said that the 76ers are not a team that can compete on their squad. They keep saying, we're going to figure it out. We're going to find a way. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Paul George is the only one being real there, saying, do you see this team right now? No, we can't compete. Once again, paraphrasing there. Tyrese Maxey is always going to be the good guy, and fans and everybody loves him for that. And I think Tyrese Maxey is a stand-up player. He's been through a lot this season. He's had to call Joel Embiid out, the franchise player. He's been the best player on the floor, out on the court, and in the locker room. But at the same time, Paul George was being realistic. So I do applaud for Tyrese Maxey saying that he's still going to compete, because I do believe that Tyrese Maxey is going to go out there and compete. What I don't believe is that this team is going to win games and allow themselves to get into that 10th spot for the play-in tournament. But we'll wait and see. Once again, they have the Knicks coming up. This is going to be an interesting game in New York at 7 p.m. So we will break that down when we come back right here on Locked On 76ers. But first, we have to tell you about Robinhood Gold. Robinhood, make sure you go check it out today. Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts as well. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match. Robinhood Gold at $5 a month if 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in an IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/gold. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC as well. So make sure you go check this out today. Once again, that's Robinhood Gold. And make sure you go check this out. Robinhood Gold LLC. You won't want to miss out. So this game coming up, you think the 76ers got blown out by the Bulls is bad. Just wait till the New York Knicks coming up into this contest. Once again, this game in New York, not at home in Philadelphia. Now, granted, the New York Knicks have struggled as of late, and the Bulls did give them a run for their money in overtime on Thursday, February 20th. So let's look through what New York has been looking like as of late. They lose 118-105 against the Celtics. Well, the Celtics and the Cavs are 2 top teams in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs completely dismantle the Knicks 142-105. The Bulls and the Knicks 113-111. That game going into overtime. So the Bulls giving the Knicks a run for their money. Another overtime game, February 12th. The Knicks just barely beat the Hawks 149-148. And then they defeat the Pacers 128-115. Then they beat the Celtics on February 8th. So as of late, it's been a little bit of a struggle on that 2-game losing streak and then just barely getting by the Hawks and the Bulls in overtime and back-to-back games after that. With that being said, I don't feel confident in the 76ers going to New York and coming out with the victory in this game. But in addition to that, for Philadelphia, I do think it is important to keep on competing, putting those guys out there. You won't have Eric Gordon. I'd be shocked if they allow Joel Embiid to play, especially with all these stories dropping as of late. Once again, if you are just tuning in, Joel Embiid looking at a lot of different options for him in terms of the knee surgery. If that is going to happen, it looks like that's going to be the reality of the situation, but nothing is confirmed yet. So I don't think it's smart to have him play. Why have him play at this point? Yes, you're on the outside looking in technically, but do you really want to get into the 10th seed and then have to win 2 playing games just to get knocked out of the first round of the playoffs? Come on now. There's really no point to do that, to risk your players getting hurt and further injuries, because Tyrese Maxey was questionable in the game against the Bulls. Paul George is still getting finger injections at this point of the season. So yes, you don't want to force those guys to play in matchups, even if you win the first one, and then to go in the first round of the playoffs. There's really no point because it's not a championship team. It's not a team that can even get out of the first round, probably even out of the play-in if they get in there at that point. So no, the 76ers are not going to win against the Knicks. That is my overall prediction. I do think that they are in tag mode. Let me know what you think in the comments. But basketball is still happening, people. So we're going to recap it all after the game. And we'll be there by your side to see if any more stories drop on Joel Embiid. This is the place to find all that updated information right here on Locked On 76ers. You know my co-host, Keith Pompey, of course, right to the Philadelphia Inquirer. So he will have that information, as will I, once again, with the team on the G League side in the Delaware Blue Coats. They are the affiliate of the Philadelphia 76ers. So we will have all of that updated information right here, only on Locked On 76ers. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in and joining me here today. The Sixers are back in action, people, so we can probably vent and discuss and recap after the game tomorrow night, or tonight, I should say. That's at 7 p.m. Once again, that game at 7 p.m. in New York, and the 76ers will be on the road. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On 76ers. I'm your host, Kayla Santiago, saying so long, and I'll see you guys next time.